Hello everyone, we have gone through the first chapter. We have also started the second chapter, that is plasticity characteristic of a soil. We have covered 2 lectures for that. We have started the definition of shrinkage parameters. Out of it, we have covered liquidity index, consistency index, plasticity index and so on. Okay, but out of it some parameters we have not yet covered. So the next parameter is the sensitivity of soil. Okay, so for a certain soil there will be a certain structure. Okay, the structure can be dispersed or a flocculent. What I want to say that the soil will be having its inherent structure. So whenever the soil is in the natural state and we disturb it or we excavate it, okay, the soil will get disturbed. Okay, the disturbance is nothing but the remolding of that soil or remolding of that clay. Okay, so because of this remolding there will be change in a strength of a soil. The change will be reduction, there will be the reduction in a compressive strength of that soil. Okay, so the sensitivity is nothing but the ratio of unconfined compressive strength of undisturbed clay to unconfined compressive strength of the remolded clay. Okay, so sensitivity indicates how much soil is sensitive to the structural change. Okay, when the structure of a soil is changed, how it is affecting to its engineering property, that is compressive strength of the soil, that is indicated by this sensitivity. Okay, that's about the sensitivity. So when the sensitivity of a soil is less than 1, it is considered as insensitive, and when the sensitivity is between the range of 1 to 2, it is little sensitive. For the most of the clays, the sensitivity of a soil will be within the range of 2 to 4. Okay, so it will be considered as moderately sensitive. 4 to 8 are considered as a sensitive. When it is between 8 to 16, it is extra sensitive. Okay, this clay which is found in a Mexico City, it come under this group. Okay, the clay of a Mexico City will be having sensitivity of between the range of 8 to 16. And when the sensitivity of a soil is greater than 16, it is considered as a quick. Okay, so if you are just disturbing the soil or you are just going to excavate the soil, that will get converted into slurry. Okay, like that because of the disturbance, the strength of a soil will reduce quickly. Okay, so that much soil is sensitive. Okay, when it is a state 16, the unconfined compressive strength of a remolded clay will be 16 times smaller as compared to unconfined compressive strength of a undisturbed clay. Okay, so that's all about this sensitivity of a soil. The next is the thixotropy of a soil. I have already told you what is sensitivity of a soil. Whenever we are going to disturb structure of a soil by remolding or by excavation, there is a change in a strength of a soil. The change in a strength of a soil is because of 2 things. First is there will be change in a structure of a soil, and another thing is that there is a disturbance is caused to the water molecule that were present in adsorbed water layer. Okay, so out of these 2 processes, the second process, okay, disturbance to the water molecules in adsorbed water layer is reversible. Over a period of a time, what happens, the disturbed water molecule will reorient themselves and they form a chemical equilibrium, and because of this chemical equilibrium there will be regain in a strength of that soil. Okay, not all the strength will be recovered, but some part of the strength of a soil will be recovered. Okay, that is nothing but the thixotropy of soil. In another word, we can say that the thixotropy of a soil is regain in a strength of a remolded clays at a constant water content over a period of a time. Okay, so this is just a theoretical part, but it has very practical importance. Whenever we are going to drive a pile in a soil, the structure of a soil will get disturbed and there will be the reduction in a strength of a soil. Okay, if we know what is the thixotropy of a soil, then we can have idea that how much strength of a soil will be regained and what duration will be required for that. Okay, so that's all about the thixotropy of a soil. Next part is activity of a soil. Okay, for that we should know what are the clay minerals that are present in a soil. So before that we will go through the different clay minerals that are present in a clay. As we know, the plasticity in a clay is because of the presence of the clay mineral. So these three are the major clay minerals that are present in a clay. That is nothing but the kaolinite, montmorillonite and illite. Okay, if we consider kaolinite, one structural unit will be having a thickness of 7 angstrom. 1 angstrom is equal to 10 raised to minus 10 meter and 10 raised to minus 7 mm. Okay, so one structural unit will consist of gibbsite, that is nothing but the alumina sheet, and silica sheet. Okay, this structural unit will be stacked one over another like this. The bond between this silica sheet and gibbsite sheet is hydrogen bond. Okay, thus the bond between these two is because of the oxygen of the silica sheet and hydroxyl of this alumina sheet. Okay, so these minerals are generally, all of these three minerals are negatively charged. As this mineral is negatively charged, water will get adsorbed to it. Okay, and there is no swelling and shrinkage of this mineral. Okay, so it will just give plasticity to that certain soil or certain clay. Okay, so this mineral is generally present in a china clay, so we can make pot out of it because it does not swell, it just will have it a plasticity. Okay, so there is no swelling, no shrinkage, so it will be plastic. So that's why it can be feasibly used. Surface area of this mineral is 15 meter square per gram. It means that if you are taking 1 gram of a soil, it will have 15 meter square of a surface area. So the next mineral is montmorillonite mineral. Okay, in this one structural unit, the gibbsite will be sandwiched between these two silica sheet. Okay, and there will be the bond between these two silica sheet is because of this oxygen ion. Okay, as this silica sheet is negatively charged, it will attract water in it. Okay, because water is a dipolar liquid. Because of this water in this space, there will be the swelling of this montmorillonite mineral. Okay, sometimes there will be more amount of water in this between the space, and these two structural unit may get separate from each other. So because of that, there will be higher swelling and there will be higher shrinkage. Okay, the water between this space can be removed when it is heated at 200 degrees centigrade to 300 degrees centigrade, and the surface area, if we consider, it is 800 meter square per gram. Okay, so highest surface area is for this montmorillonite mineral. The next is illite. Illite is same as a montmorillonite mineral, but the bond is because of the non-exchangeable potassium ions. Okay, and the bond is so strong that the water won't go through it. Okay, so there will be no swelling and shrinkage because of this illite mineral. Okay, and the surface area is 80 meter square per gram. So if we consider specific surface area, montmorillonite will be having higher surface area, then after that illite mineral, then after that kaolinite mineral. Okay, consider swelling characteristic. The montmorillonite mineral will swell more, then after that illite, and then after that kaolinite. Okay, so these are the minerals that are generally present in clay. Now we will go through the last shrinkage parameter. Okay, that is nothing but the activity of a soil. Right? Activity of a soil is nothing but the ratio of a plasticity index to the clay fraction. The F, that is nothing but the clay fraction, that is percentage finer than the 2 micron. Generally, the soils which are having size smaller than the 2 micron are generally clays. The amount of water that is present in a soil or present in a clay will depend on what type of a clay mineral present in that soil. So we have seen the three minerals, that is kaolinite, illite and montmorillonite. Out of that, the montmorillonite mineral will absorb more amount of water, and so that its structural unit may get separated from each other, and that in between that there will be the water present. Okay, so that shows higher increase in a volume and reduction in a volume because of varying amount of water. Okay, so the activity of a soil indicates water holding capacity of a certain soil, and shrinkage and swelling of that certain soil, and that depends on what type of the clay mineral are present in a soil. So suppose we plot graph between this plasticity index and clay fraction. Clay fraction is taken on x-axis and plasticity index is taken on y-axis. For certain soil we will get some points and it will form a straight line. Okay, so these are the three straight line. The slope of this line will indicate the activity of a soil, because activity of a soil is nothing but the plasticity index by clay fraction. It is found that if the soil is having more amount of a montmorillonite mineral, then activity of a soil, that is the slope of this plot or slope of this graph, will be more than 4. But it is between the 2 to 1, then the dominating mineral that is present in that certain soil will be illite, and when the activity of a soil is lesser than 1, then that soil will be having kaolinite mineral. Okay, so this activity of a soil ultimately depends upon what type of a mineral present in that clay fraction. Okay, it's not about just a clay fraction but about the mineral that are present in a soil. The next part is that if the activity of a soil is smaller than the 0.75, it will be inactive. If it is between 0.75 to 1.25, it is normally active, and if it is greater than 1.25, it is active. For certain soil of a certain origin, the activity of a soil will remain same. It means that if there is an increase in the clay fraction, then simultaneously its plasticity index is also going to increase. Or if you found that the plasticity index is more, then the clay fraction in that soil will also be more. So it is going to remain constant, it is not going to change. If plasticity index is changing, simultaneously clay fraction will also change. And the another most important point is that in case of a highly active minerals like a montmorillonite, suppose in case of a montmorillonite mineral, if you are having lesser clay fraction, then there will be also highly increase in a plasticity index, and because of that the slope of this will be steeper. It means that the activity of a soil will be more. So montmorillonite mineral is highly active and it will be having higher activity. Okay, so this is for the today. This is the end of this lecture. We will see the experimental procedure for determination of a plastic limit and shrinkage limit in a next part. Thank you so much.